always considered myself a curious person, always eager to explore the hidden corners of the internet. It was a fascination that led me down a dark and treacherous path, one that I would soon come to regret. This is my story, a tale of terror in the malevolent abyss known as the Silk Road. My journey into the abyss began innocently enough. I had heard whispers about the Silk Road, a clandestine marketplace hidden deep within the dark web. It was said to be a place where anything could be bought or sold, a digital black market teeming with forbidden treasures. The temptation was too great, and my curiosity got the best of me. I downloaded the Tor browser and took my first tentative steps into the murky depths of the dark web. The Silk Road's address was a closely guarded secret, known only to those who had ventured into this perilous realm before. But with a bit of determination and a sprinkle of luck, I found myself standing at the virtual gates of the Silk Road. The marketplace was unlike anything I had ever seen. It resembled an eerie bazaar with vendors peddling their wares in the shadows. Drugs, weapons, stolen data. It was all there. A modern-day Pandora's box of illicit desires. The anonymity provided by cryptocurrencies and the Tor network made it seem like a lawless frontier where anything was possible. My heart raced as I scrolled through the listings. I was an observer, a silent voyeur peeking into the darkness without any intention of making a purchase. But as I delved deeper, I stumbled upon something that sent a shiver down my spine. A listing for a mysterious package labeled the Whisperer's Relic. The description was cryptic, promising untold secrets and unparalleled power to the one who possessed it. It was a puzzle I couldn't resist solving. Without thinking, I clicked the Buy Now button and entered the dark waters of a digital transaction. The price was steep, but I was already ensnared in the Silk Road's web. Days turned into weeks as I anxiously awaited the arrival of the enigmatic package. It finally arrived in a nondescript brown box wrapped in plain brown paper. Inside was an ornate wooden chest adorned with intricate carvings of ancient symbols. It emanated an aura of dread, a palpable sense that I had opened a door to the unknown. I cautiously opened the chest and found a single object, a blackened obsidian amulet with an eerie crimson gemstone at its center. It pulsed with an unnatural energy as if it were alive. The amulet was accompanied by a handwritten note that read, "Embrace the darkness, for it shall consume you." As I slipped the amulet around my neck, I felt an immediate change come over me. Whispers filled my mind, unintelligible murmurs that sent shivers down my spine. My curiosity had led me to something far more sinister than I could have ever imagined. Sleep became elusive as the whispers grew louder, their voices a cacophony of torment and despair. My dreams were haunted by nightmarish visions, and I felt an insatiable hunger for knowledge that could not be sated. The amulet had bound itself to me, and I was no longer in control. One fateful night, I received a message on the Silk Road, a message from a user named the Keeper of Shadows. The message was a sinister riddle, a puzzle that seemed impossible to solve. It spoke of hidden knowledge and an ancient ritual that could grant unimaginable power. As I delved deeper into the riddle, I realized that it was a path to the darkest depths of the Silk Road. The whispers in my mind urged me forward, and I knew there was no turning back. I followed the cryptic clues, traversing the hidden corners of the dark web, each step taking me further into the abyss. The final destination was a website unlike any other, a place of shadows and secrets. It was here that I came face to face with the Keeper of Shadows, a figure cloaked in darkness. The amulet around my neck pulsed with a malevolent energy, and I felt a sinister connection between us. The Keeper of Shadows revealed the true purpose of the Whisperer's Relic, to unlock the ancient knowledge hidden within the darkest corners of the human psyche. With each revelation, I felt my sanity slipping away, consumed by the insatiable hunger for power and forbidden knowledge. As the ritual reached its climax, I saw glimpses of the abyss, a realm of eternal darkness and unspeakable horrors. The amulet bound me to this nightmarish dimension, and I became a prisoner of my own curiosity. I had ventured too far into the darkness, and there was no escape. This is my warning to all who dare to tread the treacherous path of the Silk Road. The dark web is a realm of temptation and terror, a place where curiosity can lead to damnation. The whispers still haunt me, their voices a reminder of the horrors I unleashed. I had always been intrigued by the darker corners of the internet, the places most people would never dare to venture. My fascination with the unknown led me to explore the depths of the dark web, an enigmatic digital realm where anonymity and secrecy reigned supreme. Little did I know that my quest for the forbidden would lead me to a disturbing legend that had sent chills down the spines of internet users for years. The infamous Red Room. It all began on a restless night as I navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the dark web, seeking out hidden forums and secret chat rooms. The whispers about Red Rooms had always piqued my curiosity. These rumored live-streamed events were said to showcase unspeakable acts of violence and torture, all for the amusement of paying viewers. Some claimed it was a twisted form of entertainment, while others insisted it was a macabre reality. Despite my skepticism, I couldn't help but be drawn into the shadowy recesses of the web where these rumors persisted. The more I searched, the more cryptic clues and vague references I found. It was as if the Red Rooms were a mirage, always just out of reach but never quite tangible. One night, while delving into the darkest corners of a particularly obscure forum, I received a private message from an anonymous user with the moniker Zero. The message was chillingly succinct. "You seek the Red Rooms, I can take you there." The offer was both alluring and terrifying. I hesitated for a moment, my cursor hovering over the reply button before finally typing, "Show me." Zero replied with a link and a single sentence. "Only the brave enter and not all return." With trembling hands, I clicked the link, feeling a rush of trepidation as I entered the ominous domain of the Red Room. It was a stark, minimalist website with a black background and a single icon, the silhouette of a red door prominently displayed at the center. A countdown timer ominously ticked away the seconds, minutes, and hours until the supposed event. The chat room on the site buzzed with anticipation. Users from around the world, each cloaked in anonymity, exchanged cryptic messages and dark humor. There was an unsettling air of excitement, as if everyone believed they were about to witness something unimaginable. As the countdown reached its final hours, Zero reappeared in the chat room, his presence marked by a crimson username. He began to narrate a chilling tale, weaving a narrative of horror and despair. He described the Red Room as a place where the darkest desires of humanity met their twisted fulfillment, a place where monsters roamed freely. I watched in disbelief as Zero claimed that he had once been an unwilling participant in a Red Room, forced to endure unspeakable horrors. He described the torment and agony he had suffered, painting a vivid, horrifying picture with his words. The chat room fell into a hushed silence, as if the collective audience held its breath, waiting for the impending spectacle. As the countdown reached its final moments, a live video feed appeared on the screen. It was a dimly lit room, with a blood-red curtain serving as a backdrop. In the center of the room, there was a table covered in an assortment of gruesome tools and implements. My heart pounded in my chest as I watched, unable to tear my eyes away from the screen. And then, to my shock and horror, a hooded figure entered the frame, dragging an unconscious and bound individual behind them. The victim's face was obscured, but their fear was palpable. It was at that moment that the true horror of the Red Room seemed to materialize before my eyes. As the hooded figure began to speak in a cold, emotionless tone, my mind raced with questions. Was this real, or was it an elaborate hoax? Was I witnessing a genuine act of cruelty, or was it a disturbing piece of performance art? Just as the hooded figure began to raise a gleaming blade above the helpless victim, the video feed abruptly cut out, plunging the chat room into darkness. Panic erupted as users desperately tried to reconnect, their voices a cacophony of fear and confusion. In the days that followed, I scoured the dark web for any trace of the Red Room, but it had vanished without a trace. The countdown timer had reached 0, the curtain had closed, and the room had gone dark. I was left with a haunting sense of unease, unsure of what I had witnessed. The Red Room had remained a legend, an enigma that may never be solved. Whether it was an elaborate hoax or a horrifying reality, one thing was certain. The darkness of the internet held secrets that I was not prepared to confront. My life had always been ordinary, a mundane existence in the heart of a bustling city. But one fateful day, curiosity led me down a path I could never have anticipated. The sinister realm of the dark web and the legend of the Cannibal Cop. It all started innocently enough. Like many others, I had heard stories of the dark web, a hidden part of the internet where anonymity was the currency and the unspeakable was the norm. The temptation to explore this hidden world, to peel back the layers of secrecy, proved too irresistible to ignore. Armed with the Tor browser and a sense of trepidation, I delved into the dark web's murky depths. What I found was a digital underworld, a realm where the boundaries between right and wrong blurred into obscurity. The Silk Road, marketplaces for illegal goods, and disturbing forums were just the tip of the iceberg. But what truly captured my attention was the legend of the Cannibal Cop. The story was whispered about in hushed tones, a tale that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to listen. It revolved around a former police officer who had succumbed to the darkest desires of the human psyche, a cannibalistic craving for human flesh. As I dug deeper into this gruesome legend, I came across a hidden forum, a place where devotees of the Cannibal Cop congregated. They exchanged tales of his supposed exploits, traded grotesque fantasies, and even shared chilling artwork depicting their darkest desires. Intrigued and disturbed in equal measure, I followed the digital breadcrumbs, hoping to uncover the truth behind this macabre legend. It was during one of these late-night investigations that I received a private message from an anonymous user named Hunger. The message was cryptic, filled with references to flesh and hunger, as if it were written by someone unhinged. It read, "The cop is real, do you dare to know more?" My heart raced as I considered the implications of this message. Was the Cannibal Cop more than just an urban legend? Could there be a grain of truth buried beneath the layers of twisted fantasies? My curiosity got the better of me, and I replied with a hesitant, "Tell me more." Hunger responded with a series of unsettling messages, detailing alleged encounters with the Cannibal Cop and the horrors they had witnessed. They spoke of secret gatherings held in the darkest corners of the dark web, where individuals with sinister appetites gathered to fulfill their macabre desires. As the days passed, Hunger's messages grew darker and more vivid. They described a hidden world of depravity, a place where the line between reality and fantasy was blurred beyond recognition. It was a world where twisted individuals believed they could indulge their darkest impulses with impunity. Despite my growing unease, I continued to follow the breadcrumbs, desperate to uncover the truth. Hunger promised to reveal the identity of the Cannibal Cop in exchange for my continued silence and cooperation. The allure of solving the mystery proved too enticing to resist. One night, Hunger provided me with a link to a hidden website, one that promised to unveil the true identity of the Cannibal Cop. The site was a maze of cryptic clues and riddles, each one leading me deeper into the heart of darkness. It felt like a descent into madness, a journey from which there was no turning back. Finally, after weeks of relentless pursuit, I arrived at a chilling revelation, the true identity of the Cannibal Cop. It was a name I recognized, a name from my own city, a name that sent shockwaves of terror through my veins. As I stared at the screen in disbelief, I realized that I had gone too far, that I had become entangled in a web of darkness from which there was no escape. I had ventured into the abyss, and now it threatened to consume me. Fear gripped me, and I knew that I had to sever all ties with this grotesque world I had uncovered. I deleted my Tor browser, destroyed any trace of my dark web activity, and vowed to leave the horrors of the Cannibal Cop behind. But the nightmares persisted, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I had come too close to the edge of the abyss. The legend of the Cannibal Cop had become a haunting specter, a reminder that there are depths of darkness on the internet that should never be explored. My journey into the dark web had been a descent into madness, a brush with the unimaginable. It was a stark reminder that curiosity, when taken too far, can lead to a darkness from which there is no return. And as I look back on my harrowing experience, I knew that some secrets are better left buried in the depths of the digital abyss. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.